For decades, you've heard it whispered, repeated in movies, and even cited by self-help gurus. We only use 10% of our brain. It's a tantalizing idea, isn't it? The thought that an enormous, untapped reservoir of intellectual power lies dormant within us, just waiting to be awakened. Imagine the possibilities if you could just unlock the other 90%. Well, prepare for a groundbreaking truth bomb that shatters this widespread belief into a million pieces. This isn't just a slight exaggeration, it's an outright fabrication. Neuroscientists, with every advanced brain imaging technique available, have unequivocally shown that we use virtually every part of our brain. Yes, even during routine tasks like talking, walking, or just relaxing, multiple areas are constantly active. Specific brain regions light up for specific functions, but throughout a typical day, almost 100% of your brain is engaged at different times. No magic switch exists to access a hidden 90%. Your brain is already working at full capacity, a complex symphony of neural activity. So next time you hear this myth, you'll know the truth. Your brain is already a marvel of efficiency, not a slumbering giant. This single revelation sets the stage for a series of shocking debunkings that will redefine your understanding of everyday realities. Are you ready for more?
Picture this. You're casually cracking your knuckles, and someone immediately warns, "Stop that, you'll get arthritis." Sound familiar? It's a caution passed down through generations, a seemingly undeniable truth that has instilled fear in countless finger poppers. But what if I told you that this widely accepted nugget of wisdom is nothing more than a giant echoing lie? It's time to liberate your joints from this pervasive misconception. Decades of scientific research, including studies where individuals cracked knuckles for years and others didn't, have consistently found no significant link between knuckle cracking and an increased risk of arthritis. The crack you hear isn't bones grinding, but rather the popping of gas bubbles in the synovial fluid, the lubricant in your joints. While it might annoy those around you, your joints are taking no real damage. So go ahead and relieve that tension, knowing that you're not doomed to a future of stiff fingers because of a harmless habit. This revelation alone should make you question other common-sense health beliefs. What other everyday actions have you been falsely warned about? Remember that childhood terror? The warning from parents or older siblings, "Don't swallow your gum, it'll stay in your stomach for 7 years." The image of a sticky, colorful blob slowly accumulating, wreaking havoc in your digestive system was enough to make anyone spit it out immediately. This isn't just a silly kid's tale. It's a belief many adults still secretly harbor. But let's cut through the chewing gum chatter and expose this culinary legend for the utter nonsense it is. While gum isn't digestible like most foods, your body is remarkably efficient at passing things through. Your digestive system handles things it can't break down all the time. Think corn kernels or tough fibers. Gum simply travels through your system largely intact and is eventually excreted, usually within a few days, just like anything else that can't be digested. It doesn't adhere to your organs or linger for years. So breathe easy. That accidental gulp isn't the life sentence for your insides. The next time you mistakenly swallow a piece, you can rest assured it's not setting up permanent residence. And speaking of things that pass through you, are you ready to debunk another digestive myth?
Every parent has seen it. The kids tearing a birthday cake or a candy bar, and suddenly they're bouncing off the walls, talking a mile a minute, seemingly fueled by an invisible sugar rocket. The conclusion is obvious, right? Sugar makes kids hyper. It's a belief so ingrained in our collective consciousness that it's practically a scientific law in many households. But prepare for a shocking twist that'll completely overturn your understanding of children's energy levels. Decades of rigorous scientific studies have consistently failed to find any direct link between sugar consumption and hyperactivity in children. That's right, none. What's truly happening often Kids are in exciting, stimulating environments, like parties, where sugary treats are served, and the excitement itself, not the sugar, is the real energy booster. Parents' expectations can also play a huge role. If you expect a child to be hyper after sugar, you're more likely to perceive them that way. So, next time your little ones are buzzing after a treat, remember it's probably the joy of the moment, not the glucose, that's driving their energy. This debunking opens the door to understanding how expectation can warp perception in many other areas of life. What else have you seen that wasn't actually there?
It's the golden rule of hydration, preached by health gurus and well-meaning friends alike. You absolutely must drink 8 glasses of water a day. For many, it's a daily chore, a constant reminder to sip and gulp even when they don't feel thirsty, all under the assumption that anything less will lead to dehydration and a host of health problems. But what if this sacred guideline is nothing more than an arbitrary number, a convenient myth without solid scientific backing? Prepare to challenge everything you thought you knew about staying hydrated. The truth is, the 8 glasses recommendation likely originated from a misinterpreted 1945 recommendation that included water from foods and other beverages, not just pure water. Your individual water needs vary wildly based on your activity level, climate, diet, and overall health. Furthermore, you get a significant amount of water from the fruits, vegetables, and other drinks you consume throughout the day. Your body has a built-in, highly effective hydration sensor: thirst. When you're thirsty, drink. Simple as that. Obsessing over a specific number can even lead to overhydration in rare cases. So ditch the arbitrary goal. Listen to your body instead. This revelation about personal needs versus universal rules is just the tip of the iceberg. What other one-size-fits-all advice have you blindly followed?
It's a chilling image, a detail often used in horror stories and whispered legends. After death, a person's hair and fingernails continue to grow, subtly lengthening, a macabre sign of lingering life. This eerie concept has been a source of fascination and fear for centuries, adding a layer of the supernatural to the very natural process of death. But prepare to have the curtains pulled back on this ghoulish myth, revealing a much more logical, albeit less dramatic, truth. The astonishing reality is that hair and nails do not, in fact, continue to grow after death. What you're seeing is an optical illusion caused by changes in the body. After someone dies, the body dehydrates, and the skin around the nails and hair follicles retracts, shrinking back. This retraction exposes more of the nail and hair shaft that was previously embedded, making it appear longer. It's not new growth, it's just more of the existing structure becoming visible. So, next time you hear this spooky tale, you'll know it's a trick of the light, not a sign of the undead. Understanding this simple biological fact makes you wonder, how many other seemingly supernatural phenomena have mundane explanations?
For generations, it's been a proud boast, a testament to human ingenuity. The Great Wall of China is the only man-made structure visible from space. This incredible claim has captured imaginations, appearing in textbooks, documentaries, and countless trivia games. It conjures an image of a majestic, serpentine structure, easily discernible from orbit, a true wonder of the world. But brace yourself for a cosmic truth bomb that will bring this widely accepted fact crashing back down to Earth. The stunning reality is that the Great Wall is not visible from space with the naked eye, certainly not from the moon, and often not even from low Earth orbit with very specific conditions and knowledge of where to look. While it's incredibly long, the wall is relatively narrow and blends into the surrounding landscape, especially from hundreds of miles up. Astronauts consistently confirm this. Many other man-made structures, like brightly lit cities or large dams, are far more easily spotted. So, the next time someone brings up this grand claim, you can confidently set the record straight. It's a magnificent feat of engineering, but not quite that visible. This debunking makes you ponder. If something so widely believed about our planet isn't true, what other facts are waiting to be unmasked?
The image is vivid. Hordes of adorable furry lemmings driven by some inexplicable suicidal urge marching in unison off a cliff to their watery doom. It's a tragic yet strangely compelling wildlife spectacle that has been etched into our minds as a primal instinct of these small rodents. This dramatic narrative of mass suicide has been told and retold, becoming a metaphor for blind, self-destructive behavior. But prepare to have your understanding of nature's darkest moments completely rewritten, because this iconic animal behavior is, in fact, a carefully orchestrated, disturbing lie. The truth is, lemmings do not commit mass suicide. This myth was largely popularized and solidified by a shocking 1958 Disney documentary called White Wilderness. In a deplorable act of cinematic deception, the filmmakers actually herded dozens of lemmings over a cliff, creating the illusion of a spontaneous mass migration to death. While lemmings do migrate and can accidentally fall from cliffs or drown during river crossings, they certainly don't intentionally end their lives. This exposé reveals how easily our perception of truth can be manipulated, even by sources we trust. It makes you wonder, what other natural phenomena have been fabricated for our entertainment or to fit a narrative?
It's a common complaint, especially among those new to shaving. My hair grows back so much thicker and darker after I shave. This belief is deeply rooted, leading many to think that once you pick up a razor, you're signing up for a lifetime battle against increasingly coarse and stubborn regrowth. The frustration is real, the perception undeniable. But what if this universally accepted consequence of shaving is nothing more than a trick of the eye, a physiological illusion that has fooled us all? Get ready to shave away the myth and reveal the smooth truth. The fact is, shaving does not make your hair grow back thicker, darker, or faster. When you shave, you cut the hair off at the skin's surface, leaving a blunt, stubby end. This blunt tip, combined with the hair being short and not yet softened by weathering, makes it feel coarser and appear darker as it first emerges. Hair naturally tapers at the end, so freshly cut stubble simply lacks that fine tip. As the hair grows out, it returns to its normal texture and color. So next time you feel that thicker regrowth, remember it's just a temporary sensation, not a permanent change. This insight into how our senses can mislead us primes you for more revelations about perception versus reality. What else are your eyes and hands deceiving you about?
The poor goldfish. For generations, they've been the subject of endless jokes about their supposed 3-second memory, a dismissive chuckle at their cognitive limitations. It's a widely accepted fact that if a goldfish swims around its bowl, it immediately forgets what it just saw, living in a constant state of blissful, forgetful rediscovery. This notion paints a picture of a perpetually bewildered aquatic pet, but prepare to dive deep into the truth and discover that this common belief is utterly, completely, and undeniably false. Far from having a 3-second memory, scientific studies have repeatedly shown that goldfish possess surprisingly good memories and learning capabilities. They can be trained to navigate mazes, recognize shapes and colors, and even respond to specific feeding times. Some studies suggest their memory can last for months, not seconds. They can remember patterns, learn to push levers for food, and distinguish between different human faces. The 3-second memory is nothing more than an enduring urban legend. So next time you see a goldfish, give it the credit it deserves. It might remember you far better than you think. This delightful debunking highlights how easily we underestimate the animal kingdom. What other creatures have you unfairly judged based on widespread misinformation?
Thanksgiving dinner. After gorging on turkey and all the trimmings, you feel that irresistible urge to collapse onto the couch for a nap. The culprit? Everyone points to the turkey, specifically its tryptophan content, a common belief that this amino acid is solely responsible for your post-feast drowsiness. It's a comforting explanation, neatly tying your food intake to your sleepiness. But prepare to wake up from this long-held culinary slumber, because this turkey coma explanation is a delicious lie. While turkey does contain tryptophan, an amino acid that can be converted into serotonin and then melatonin, which aids sleep, it's not present in significantly higher amounts than in other common foods like chicken, cheese, or even nuts. The real reason for your post-meal lethargy lies in the entire Thanksgiving meal. The sheer volume of food, especially carbohydrates, potatoes, stuffing, pie, triggers a large release of insulin. This insulin clears other amino acids from the blood, making the tryptophan relatively more available to enter the brain. Plus, overeating, alcohol consumption, and general relaxation after a big family gathering are far more potent sleep inducers than turkey alone. So blame the feast, not just the bird. This insight into complex bodily reactions shows that simple explanations are often too good to be true. What other food-related facts have you blindly accepted?
Remember being a kid, reaching for that tantalizing cup of coffee, only to be met with a stern warning, "Don't drink that, it'll stunt your growth." It's a cautionary tale many of us heard, linking the bitter brew to shorter stature and a permanent halt in development. This belief has been so pervasive that even now, some adults hesitate to give coffee to teenagers. But prepare to pour out this old wives' tale and discover the liberating truth. The shocking reality is that there is absolutely no scientific evidence to support the claim that coffee or caffeine stunts growth in children or adolescents. This myth likely originated during a time when coffee was less common for young people, and adults sought reasons to discourage its consumption due to concerns about its stimulating effects, not its impact on height. Genetics and nutrition are the primary determinants of a person's adult height. While excessive caffeine intake can cause other issues like jitters, sleep disturbances, or anxiety, it has no bearing on bone growth. So, your height is determined by your genes, not by your morning latte. This debunking reminds us how easily fears and misconceptions can become entrenched facts. What other health warnings have been whispered without any real basis?
A loved one goes missing and your heart races with panic. You rush to the police only to be told, "We can't do anything for 24 hours. You have to wait." This deeply frustrating and widely believed rule has been portrayed in countless movies and TV shows, cementing it as an undeniable bureaucratic barrier to urgent action. But prepare for a shocking revelation that could literally save lives, because this 24-hour waiting period is a dangerous and completely false myth. The devastating truth is that there is no official waiting period to report a missing person to the police in the United States or most other developed countries. This myth can severely delay critical early search efforts, which are often the most crucial for finding someone safely. Police departments are generally eager to take reports as soon as a person is confirmed missing, especially if there's any suspicion of foul play, a vulnerable individual, or unusual circumstances. The initial hours are vital, so if someone you know disappears, do not hesitate. Report it immediately. Every minute counts. This urgent debunking highlights how fictional narratives can dangerously influence real-world understanding. What other legal or procedural facts have you mistakenly believed?
It's the quintessential image of the bullfight. A matador waving a vibrant red cape, the bull charging with unbridled fury, seemingly enraged by the color. This dramatic spectacle has convinced countless people that bulls are uniquely provoked by the color red, making it a universal symbol of anger and aggression towards these powerful animals. But prepare to have your vision of the bull ring completely transformed, because this iconic belief is a stunning, colorful lie. The astonishing truth is that bulls are actually colorblind, or at least they see colors very differently from humans, perceiving red as merely a shade of gray or dull yellow. Their aggressive reaction is not to the color red itself, but to the frantic movement of the cape. The matador's waving, fluttering fabric, regardless of its hue, is what agitates and provokes the bull. They're reacting to the motion and the perceived threat, not the specific pigment. So if the cape were blue, green, or even white, the bull would respond with the same intensity. This reveals how easily we misinterpret animal behavior based on human perceptions. What other animal instincts have we been completely wrong about based on our own biases?
It's a comforting adage, often uttered to reassure someone who's had a streak of bad luck. Don't worry, lightning never strikes the same place twice. It implies a kind of natural justice, a cosmic rule that distributes misfortune evenly. This widely accepted piece of folk wisdom suggests that once a spot has been hit by a bolt, it's somehow immune to future electrical assaults. But prepare for a thunderous jolt of truth that will completely illuminate this common misconception. The electrifying reality is that lightning absolutely does strike the same place twice, and often many, many more times. Tall, isolated structures like skyscrapers, communication towers, and even very tall trees are prime targets for lightning strikes precisely because they are the most efficient path for electrical discharge to reach the ground. The Empire State Building, for example, is struck by lightning dozens, sometimes even hundreds of times each year. Lightning is simply following the path of least resistance, and that path can be repeatedly the same. So, next time you hear this old saying, you'll know it's a shocking falsehood. This scientific debunking highlights how our desire for comforting patterns can override logical observation. What other rules of nature have we invented to make sense of the chaos? Imagine this terrifying scenario. A penny dropped from the top of a skyscraper, accelerating to a deadly speed, becoming a lethal projectile capable of cracking a skull or embedding itself in concrete. It's a classic urban legend, often used to illustrate the power of gravity and the danger of seemingly innocuous objects. The sheer height of a skyscraper makes the idea plausible, right? But prepare to have this Hollywood-esque horror story completely shattered, because the deadly penny is nothing more than an aerodynamic lie. The astonishing truth is that a penny dropped from a skyscraper would not be lethal. It wouldn't even cause serious injury. Why? Air resistance. A penny's small mass and relatively flat shape mean it quickly reaches terminal velocity, the maximum speed an object can fall at due to air resistance. For a penny, that's only about 30 to 50 miles per hour, far too slow to be deadly. It would feel like a flick to the head at most. It wouldn't embed in concrete either. While certainly not advisable to drop anything from great heights, the penny myth has massively exaggerated the danger. This dose of physics challenges our intuition about falling objects. What other cinematic exaggerations have you mistakenly believed as fact?
Close your eyes and picture a Viking warrior. You almost certainly envision a formidable figure, clad in furs and wielding an axe, with a magnificent helmet adorned with two menacing horns. This iconic image of the horned Viking helmet is deeply ingrained in popular culture, from cartoons to historical dramas, making it a definitive symbol of these Norse seafarers. But prepare to have your historical vision dramatically reshaped, because the horned Viking helmet is a flamboyant, historically inaccurate lie. The shocking truth is that there is absolutely no archaeological evidence to suggest that Viking warriors ever wore helmets with horns in battle or for everyday use. Horned helmets would have been incredibly impractical for combat, getting caught on things and making the wearer an easy target. The origin of this pervasive myth can actually be traced back to 19th century Romantic nationalism, and specifically the costume design for an 1876 production of Richard Wagner's opera Der Ring des Nibelungen. This theatrical flourish became an enduring symbol. So, next time you see a horned Viking, remember it's a costume designer's fantasy, not historical fact. This historical debunking makes you wonder, how many other iconic images from the past are purely fictional creations? For centuries, the story has been told and retold. In 1492, Christopher Columbus discovered America. It's a foundational narrative taught in schools, celebrated with holidays, and presented as the heroic moment when the New World was first brought into contact with the Old. This triumphant tale positions Columbus as the pioneer, the one who opened up the continent. But prepare for a profound reevaluation of history, because this discovery narrative is a deeply problematic and misleading lie. The undeniable truth is that Columbus did not discover America. When he arrived, millions of indigenous peoples were already living across 2 continents, with rich, complex societies, cultures, and civilizations spanning thousands of years. They were here, thriving, long before any Europeans set foot on their land. Furthermore, Vikings, led by Leif Erikson, had already reached North America around 1000 CE, nearly 500 years before Columbus. Columbus's arrival marked the beginning of European colonization, exploitation, and devastating impact on indigenous populations, not a discovery of an empty land. So acknowledge the true inhabitants and earlier explorers, and understand the real context of 1492. This crucial historical correction reminds us how dominant narratives can distort the past and erase the experiences of others. What other historical facts need a critical second look?
It's a story as iconic as the mouse himself. Walt Disney, the creative genius, sat down and personally sketched the beloved character Mickey Mouse, bringing him to life with his own hand. This narrative ties the man directly to his most famous creation, reinforcing his legendary status as an artist and animator. It seems perfectly fitting that the visionary behind the entire Disney empire would also be the original artist of its foundational character. But prepare for a surprising splash of ink that will redraw your understanding of Mickey's origins, because this widely believed fact is a charming yet incorrect lie. The astonishing truth is that while Walt Disney was the creator and original voice of Mickey Mouse, the actual drawing and design of Mickey were primarily done by his chief animator, Ub Iwerks. Iwerks was a prodigious and incredibly fast animator who brought many of Disney's ideas to visual life in the early days. Disney provided the concept and vision, but Iwerks executed the initial iconic design of Mickey. So, while Walt's genius lay in storytelling, leadership, and vision, it was Iwerks' pen that first truly brought Mickey's visual form into being. This reveals how credit can sometimes be consolidated into a single dominant figure, obscuring the collaborative effort behind great achievements. Who else contributed to the legends we admire? It's a story as iconic as the mouse himself. Walt Disney, the creative genius, sat down and personally sketched the beloved character Mickey Mouse, bringing him to life with his own hand. This narrative ties the man directly to his most famous creation, reinforcing his legendary status as an artist and animator. It seems perfectly fitting that the visionary behind the entire Disney empire would also be the original artist of its foundational character. But prepare for a surprising splash of ink that will redraw your understanding of Mickey's origins, because this widely believed fact is a charming yet incorrect lie. The astonishing truth is that while Walt Disney was the creator and original voice of Mickey Mouse, the actual drawing and design of Mickey were primarily done by his chief animator, Ub Iwerks. Iwerks was a prodigious and incredibly fast animator who brought many of Disney's ideas to visual life in the early days. Disney provided the concept and vision, but iWorks executed the initial iconic design of Mickey. So, while Walt's genius lay in storytelling, leadership, and vision, it was iWorks' pen that first truly brought Mickey's visual form into being. This reveals how credit can sometimes be consolidated into a single dominant figure, obscuring the collaborative effort behind great achievements. Who else contributed to the legends we admire? It's a story as iconic as the mouse himself. Walt Disney, the creative genius, sat down and personally sketched the beloved character Mickey Mouse, bringing him to life with his own hand. This narrative ties the man directly to his most famous creation, reinforcing his legendary status as an artist and animator. It seems perfectly fitting that the visionary behind the entire Disney empire would also be the original artist of its foundational character. But prepare for a surprising splash of ink that will redraw your understanding of Mickey's origins, because this widely believed fact is a charming yet incorrect lie. The astonishing truth is that while Walt Disney was the creator and original voice of Mickey Mouse, the actual drawing and design of Mickey were primarily done by his chief animator, iWorks. iWorks was a prodigious and incredibly fast animator who brought many of Disney's ideas to visual life in the early days. Disney provided the concept and vision, but iWorks executed the initial iconic design of Mickey. So, while Walt's genius lay in storytelling, leadership, and vision, it was iWorks' pen that first truly brought Mickey's visual form into being. This reveals how credit can sometimes be consolidated into a single dominant figure, obscuring the collaborative effort behind great achievements. Who else contributed to the legends we admire?
It's a common saying used to describe someone fumbling in the dark, "You're as blind as a bat." This widely used idiom has solidified the belief that bats are completely sightless, navigating their world solely through other means. It paints a picture of helpless creatures entirely reliant on their famous sonar. But prepare to open your eyes to the stunning truth, because the idea that bats are blind is a fundamental biological lie. The astonishing reality is that bats are not blind. All bats can see, and many species actually have perfectly good functional eyesight, often comparable to or even better than human vision, especially in low light conditions. Fruit bats, for example, rely heavily on their vision to find food, while microbats use echolocation, emitting high-frequency sounds and interpreting the echoes to navigate and hunt in complete darkness. They still use their eyes for orientation and long-distance navigation. Echolocation is a supplementary sense, not a replacement for sight. So, next time you hear someone say blind as a bat, you can correct them. Bats have excellent sensory capabilities, including vision. This animal debunking makes you wonder, how many other creatures have we misunderstood, attributing limitations they don't possess? Remember those colorful diagrams in school textbooks showing different areas of the tongue responsible for tasting specific flavors? Sweet at the tip, sour on the sides, bitter at the back, and salty somewhere in between? This tongue map has been a fundamental lesson in human biology for generations, a universally accepted guide to how our taste buds function. But prepare to have your perception of flavor completely rearranged, because the venerable tongue map is an utterly false, tasteless lie. The astonishing truth is that the idea of specific taste zones on the tongue is a complete myth. Every taste bud, regardless of its location on your tongue, is capable of detecting all 5 basic tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. While some areas might be slightly more sensitive to certain tastes, there's no strict segregation. This myth originated from a misinterpretation of a German paper written in 1901, which was then popularized and simplified into the diagram we all know. So, next time you savor a complex flavor, remember your entire tongue is working in harmony to experience it all. This sensory debunking makes you question, what other anatomical facts are actually misinterpretations passed down through the ages? It's a mantra of wellness, a catchy rhyme that's been drilled into us since childhood. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. This simple, appealing adage suggests that the humble apple possesses almost magical health-preserving powers, capable of single-handedly warding off illness and ensuring perpetual good health. It's a comforting thought, isn't it? But prepare for a crisp bite of reality that will reveal the limits of this widely believed health claim. While apples are undeniably good for you, packed with fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants, the idea that one piece of fruit can universally prevent all doctor visits is a significant overstatement, a charming lie. No single food, no matter how nutritious, can guarantee perfect health or completely replace a balanced diet, regular exercise, and preventative care. The proverb is best understood as an encouragement to eat fruit and maintain a healthy lifestyle, not a literal prescription for immunity. Diseases are complex, and a single apple, while beneficial, isn't a silver bullet. So, enjoy your apples, but don't skip your annual checkups or ignore other healthy habits. This health-related debunking makes you wonder, what other foods have been assigned exaggerated curative powers?
The organic label has become synonymous with superior health. Many consumers automatically assume that if something is organic, it's inherently healthier, more nutritious, and safer than its conventional counterpart. This belief drives purchasing decisions, with people often paying a premium for organic products, convinced they're making the best choice for their well-being. But prepare to peel back the layers of this greenwashed truth, because organic is always healthier is a nuanced, often misleading lie. The astonishing reality is that scientific studies have repeatedly shown very little significant difference in nutritional content, vitamins, minerals, between organic and conventional foods. While organic farming practices avoid synthetic pesticides and fertilizers, the health benefits of this avoidance are often overstated and depend heavily on the specific crop and conventional farming practices. Organic doesn't necessarily mean pesticide-free, as natural pesticides are allowed, and it doesn't automatically mean more nutritious or safer. Often, the biggest benefit comes from consuming more fruits and vegetables, regardless of the label. So, while organic can be a valid choice for environmental reasons or personal preferences, don't blindly assume it's always the nutritionally superior option. This exposes a powerful marketing myth. What other labels have you trusted without question?
You're trying to make a healthier choice, so you reach for brown sugar instead of white, assuming its darker color and slightly coarser texture signal a more natural, less processed, and thus healthier alternative. It's a common swap in kitchens everywhere, driven by the belief that brown sugar carries more nutritional benefits. But prepare to have your sweet assumptions shattered, because the idea that brown sugar is significantly healthier than white sugar is a common, comforting lie. The astonishing truth is that nutritionally, the difference between brown and white sugar is almost negligible. Brown sugar is essentially white sugar with molasses added back in. While molasses does contain trace amounts of minerals like calcium, potassium, and iron, the quantities are so minuscule that you'd need to consume an unhealthy, enormous amount of brown sugar to derive any meaningful nutritional benefit. Both are primarily sucrose and will affect your blood sugar levels and caloric intake in virtually the same way. So choose brown sugar for its flavor profile if you prefer it, but not under the illusion that you're making a healthier dietary choice. This revelation about healthier alternatives shows how easily marketing and appearance can sway our perceptions. What other seemingly wholesome swaps are actually deceptions?
There's a persistent worry that nuking your food in the microwave oven somehow destroys its vital nutrients, zapping away all the goodness with its mysterious radiation. This concern leads many to avoid microwave cooking altogether, opting for safer methods, convinced they're preserving the nutritional integrity of their meals. But prepare to zap away this fear, because the idea that microwaving significantly kills nutrients is a warming, widespread lie.
The astonishing truth is that microwaving, when done correctly, is often one of the best ways to preserve nutrients. Heat can degrade some vitamins, like vitamin C, but it's the amount of heat and cooking time that matter most. Microwaves cook food quickly and use less water than boiling, which means fewer nutrients leach out into the cooking liquid or are exposed to prolonged high temperatures. In many cases, microwaved vegetables retain more vitamins than those boiled or even steamed for longer durations. So, don't be afraid of your microwave. It's an efficient tool that can help you retain the goodness in your food. This scientific debunking reassures us about modern kitchen conveniences. What other household technologies have you been unnecessarily wary of?
How many times have you heard it? Wait at least 30 minutes or even an hour after eating before you go swimming, or you'll get terrible cramps and drown. It's a warning deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness, a strict rule passed down by parents and lifeguards, instilling fear of a watery post-meal demise. This cautionary tale has kept countless eager swimmers out of the pool or ocean after a meal. But prepare to dive into the refreshing truth, because the idea that eating before swimming inevitably causes cramps and drowning is a myth that's all wet. The astonishing reality is that there is no scientific evidence to support the claim that eating a normal meal before swimming will cause cramps severe enough to incapacitate you or lead to drowning. While very strenuous exercise immediately after a very heavy meal might theoretically divert some blood flow from muscles to digestion, causing mild discomfort, it's highly unlikely to cause debilitating cramps. Most drowning incidents are related to lack of swimming ability, medical conditions, or alcohol consumption, not food. So while extreme overeating isn't ideal before exercise, a light meal won't put you in mortal danger. Enjoy your swim, just don't gorge yourself. This myth-busting makes you reconsider countless childhood warnings. What other common-sense rules have restricted your freedom without good reason?
It's a belief as old as time. Bundle up or you'll catch a cold. Or don't go out with wet hair, you'll get sick. The common cold is inextricably linked in our minds with exposure to cold temperatures, dampness, or drafts. This logic seems undeniable. Cold weather equals a cold, right? But prepare to warm up to a startling truth that will completely redefine your understanding of illness, because the idea that cold temperatures directly cause the common cold is a chilling, pervasive lie. The astonishing reality is that you catch a cold from viruses, specifically rhinoviruses, not from being cold. You get sick when you come into contact with a cold virus, usually through airborne droplets from a cough or sneeze, or by touching contaminated surfaces and then your face. While cold weather can play an indirect role, for example, people spending more time indoors in close proximity, dry air affecting nasal passages, the cold itself is not the pathogen. You can be freezing cold and not get sick if you're not exposed to a virus. So dress warmly for comfort, but understand that viruses, not temperature, are the true culprits. This fundamental health debunking reshapes our understanding of disease transmission. What other health causes have you mistakenly believed? It's a deeply disturbing claim, one that has created widespread fear and confusion, leading many parents to question and even refuse life-saving immunizations for their children. Vaccinations cause autism. This terrifying assertion, fueled by misinformation and an infamous retracted study, has led to a dangerous decline in vaccination rates in some communities, resulting in outbreaks of preventable diseases. But prepare for an urgent, unequivocal declaration of truth that shatters this devastating lie once and for all. The undeniable reality is that there is absolutely no scientific link between vaccinations and autism. None. Decades of extensive, rigorous research involving millions of children across numerous countries have consistently and overwhelmingly shown no correlation. The original study that sparked this fear was proven fraudulent, its author discredited and stripped of his medical license. Major medical organizations worldwide unanimously affirm vaccine safety and efficacy. Vaccines save lives and protect communities from infectious diseases like measles, mumps, and polio.
Spreading this lie endangers not only unvaccinated individuals, but also vulnerable populations who cannot be vaccinated. So trust the science, protect your children, and safeguard public health. This critical debunking highlights the profound danger of misinformation in health. What other vital medical truths are being obscured by dangerous falsehoods?
Oh, the infamous 5-second rule. You drop a cookie on the floor, quickly snatch it up, declaring 5-second rule, and proceed to eat it, confident that if it was on the ground for less than 5 seconds, it's magically germ-free. This playful yet widely practiced culinary commandment offers a convenient excuse for salvaging dropped food, suggesting a fleeting window of bacterial innocence. But prepare for a microscopic reality check that will utterly dismantle this comforting lie. The astonishing truth is that the 5-second rule is a germ-laden myth. Bacteria transfer from surfaces to food almost instantaneously, sometimes in less than 1 second. The speed and amount of transfer depend on several factors, including the type of food — wet foods pick up bacteria faster — the type of surface — rough surfaces transfer less than smooth ones — and the moisture content of both. While a quick retrieval might result in slightly less bacterial transfer than a longer one, it certainly doesn't prevent it. You're still picking up germs. So while a little dirt might not always hurt you, don't rely on the 5-second rule for food safety. This reveals how our desire for convenience can override scientific fact. What other quick fixes do you believe are protecting you?
It's a cartoon classic, an idiom for denial, the image of an ostrich, startled or frightened, comically burying its head in the sand, thinking it's hidden from danger. This iconic behavior has become a symbol of avoidance, a widely accepted fact about these magnificent birds. It paints a picture of a rather unintelligent creature attempting a ridiculous escape. But prepare to unearth the truth and discover that this famous ostrich behavior is an enduring feathered lie. The astonishing reality is that ostriches do not bury their heads in the sand to hide. This myth likely originated from observing their nesting habits or feeding behavior. Ostriches lay their eggs in nests dug in the sand, and to turn the eggs, or if they sense danger while incubating, they will lie flat with their heads and necks extended along the ground, making them less visible from a distance. From afar, especially with the undulating desert heat, it can look like their heads are in the sand. They also dig in the sand to search for food or to get water, but they never bury their heads to escape. So, next time you see someone burying their head in the sand, remember it's a metaphor, not an ostrich reality. This animal debunking makes you wonder, how many other creatures have we assigned bizarre, untrue behaviors to?
It's one of nature's most celebrated marvels, the chameleon, a master of disguise, seamlessly changing its skin color to perfectly match its surroundings, blending into leaves and branches to hide from predators or ambush prey. This widely held belief about camouflage is a cornerstone of our understanding of animal adaptation. But prepare to witness a shocking shift in perception, because while chameleons do change color, the primary reason is a fascinating, colorful lie. The astonishing truth is that chameleons primarily change color not for camouflage, but for communication and to regulate their body temperature. Their color shifts are complex signals to other chameleons, indicating mood like aggression or submission, reproductive status, or territorial claims. A male might brighten his colors to attract a mate, or darken them to intimidate a rival. They also lighten their skin to reflect heat when they're too warm, or darken it to absorb more heat when they're cold. While some camouflage does occur, it's often a secondary benefit, not the main driver. So their vibrant displays are less about hiding and more about talking and thermoregulation. This reveals a deeper, more complex layer of animal communication than we often assume. What other animal behaviors have we oversimplified with a single explanation? Look at the veins on your wrist. They appear distinctly blue or sometimes greenish blue beneath your skin. This observation has led to a widespread, deeply ingrained belief that blood, before it's exposed to oxygen, is actually blue and only turns red once it hits the air. It seems logical, doesn't it? The visual evidence is right there, beneath your skin. But prepare for a circulatory shock that will completely recolor your understanding of human biology, because the idea that blood is blue in your veins is an anatomical, visual lie. The undeniable truth is that human blood is always red. It is never blue. The color of blood depends on its oxygenation status. Oxygen-rich blood, arterial blood, is bright, vibrant red. Oxygen-poor blood, venous blood, which is returning to the lungs, is a darker, deeper red, almost a maroon color. The reason your veins appear blue or greenish is due to a combination of factors: how light penetrates your skin, how your blood absorbs different wavelengths of light, and how your eyes perceive color. The skin itself scatters light, and only blue light penetrates deep enough to be reflected back from the deeper, darker red venous blood, making it appear blue. So trust your biology, not your eyes. And remember, blood is always red. This visual debunking highlights how easily our perception can be tricked. What other obvious visual facts are actually optical illusions?
It's a classic scene. In cold weather, someone reaches for a shot of whiskey or a hot toddy, declaring, "This'll warm me up." The immediate sensation is one of warmth, a flush that spreads through the body, reinforcing the widely held belief that alcohol is an effective way to combat the cold. This seems like a comforting, simple solution for chilly evenings, but prepare for a chilling truth that could actually put you in danger, because the idea that alcohol warms you up is a deceptive physiological lie. The astonishing reality is that while alcohol makes you feel warmer, it actually causes your body to lose heat more rapidly. Alcohol is a vasodilator, meaning it causes your blood vessels, especially those near the surface of your skin, to widen. This increased blood flow to the skin creates that sensation of warmth and flushing, but it also allows heat to escape from your body's core more quickly. This can lead to a dangerous drop in core body temperature, increasing your risk of hypothermia, particularly in cold environments. So, while it feels good temporarily, alcohol is a dangerous choice for staying warm. This life-saving debunking teaches us that immediate sensations can be profoundly misleading. What other quick fixes actually have dangerous hidden consequences?
Growing up, you probably heard it repeatedly. Eat your carrots, they're good for your eyes, especially your night vision. This seemingly innocent dietary advice has been passed down through generations, making carrots synonymous with superhero-level nocturnal sight. The belief is so ingrained that many people actively consume carrots, hoping to gain an edge in the dark. But prepare for a truly enlightening revelation that will expose this nutritional fact as a brilliant piece of wartime propaganda, a delicious lie. The astonishing truth is that while carrots are rich in beta-carotene, which the body converts to vitamin A, essential for good vision, they don't give you superhuman night vision. They can help prevent vitamin A deficiency, which can cause night blindness, but they won't turn you into a nocturnal predator. This myth was cleverly propagated by the British Royal Air Force during World War II. They wanted to hide the real reason for their pilots' success in shooting down German planes at night, the invention of radar technology. By crediting carrots, they diverted attention from their secret weapon. So enjoy your carrots for their genuine health benefits, but don't expect to see in complete darkness. This historical debunking shows how easily governments can shape public belief. What other truths were born from strategic deception? You've been told it your entire life. A seemingly undeniable link between cause and effect. The heavier you are, the harder it is to lose weight. This makes logical sense, doesn't it? More weight means more inertia, more effort required, a steeper uphill battle against gravity and biology. It's a discouraging thought for anyone embarking on a weight loss journey, implying that the bigger you are, the more insurmountable the challenge.
but prepare for a groundbreaking revelation that will flip this common assumption on its head. Because the idea that it's harder to lose weight when you're heavier is a compelling yet ultimately deceptive lie. The astonishing truth is actually the opposite. In many ways, it can be easier to lose weight when you are significantly heavier, especially at the beginning of a weight loss journey. Why? Because a larger body burns more calories at rest, higher basal metabolic rate, just to maintain its functions. This means a relatively smaller caloric deficit can still lead to substantial initial weight loss. While consistency and habit changes are hard for everyone, the physiological advantage for larger individuals often means they see faster initial results, which can be highly motivating. The struggle often intensifies as one approaches a healthy weight, where the metabolic rate naturally lowers. So, if you're carrying significant extra weight, don't be discouraged. Your body is actually primed for more noticeable initial changes. This empowers you to challenge defeatist beliefs. What other common sense rules about your body are holding you back?
For decades, it's been the go-to remedy, the first line of defense against sniffles and sneezes. Load up on vitamin C. It'll prevent colds. From orange juice to massive supplement doses, this belief is deeply ingrained, offering a seemingly simple solution to seasonal illnesses. Many of us have religiously popped vitamin C pills, convinced we're bolstering our immune system against impending viral attacks. But prepare for a dose of reality that will reveal the limits of this widely believed health claim, because the idea that vitamin C prevents colds is a potent yet ultimately unproven lie. The astonishing truth is that while vitamin C is an essential nutrient for overall health and immune function, consistent scientific research has shown it does not prevent the common cold in the general population. For most people, taking high doses of vitamin C does not reduce the frequency of colds. It might, however, slightly shorten the duration or lessen the severity of a cold if you're already taking it regularly before symptoms start. The one exception is for people undergoing extreme physical stress, like marathon runners, where it might offer some protective benefit. So, get your vitamin C for general health, but don't rely on it as a cold shield. This debunks a long-held health ritual. What other seemingly beneficial health practices are actually ineffective?
You've probably heard it in gyms, spas, and trendy wellness circles. Sweat it out. It's great for detoxing your body. The intense feeling of a deep sweat, whether from exercise or a sauna, often leads to the comforting belief that you're literally pushing toxins out through your pores, purifying your system. This idea makes you feel incredibly virtuous after a good workout. But prepare for a cool splash of truth that will wash away this widespread misconception. Because the idea that sweating effectively detoxes your body is a steaming, physiological lie. The astonishing truth is that your body's primary detoxification organs are your liver and kidneys. These incredibly efficient organs filter waste products, metabolize toxins, and ensure they are excreted through urine and feces. Sweat, on the other hand, is primarily composed of water, salt, and very small amounts of other substances like urea and lactic acid. While it does expel some trace elements, the amount is negligible compared to what your liver and kidneys handle. You sweat to regulate body temperature, not to cleanse your internal organs. So enjoy your workout for its cardiovascular benefits and stress relief, but don't confuse it with a full-body detox. This reveals a common misunderstanding of bodily functions. What other physiological processes have you assigned incorrect magical properties?
It's drilled into us. Wear sunscreen and you're protected from the sun's harmful rays. This essential advice has led many to believe that slathering on SPF 50 provides an impenetrable shield, allowing for hours of carefree sun exposure without any risk of damage. It's a comforting thought, a license to enjoy the outdoors without consequence. But prepare for a shocking burst of UV reality that will redefine your understanding of sun safety, because the idea that sunscreen alone prevents all skin damage is a dangerous, deceptive lie. The astonishing truth is that while sunscreen is crucial for preventing sunburn and significantly reducing the risk of skin cancer, it does not block 100% of UV radiation, nor does it fully prevent other forms of sun damage like photoaging, wrinkles, and age spots. Even broad-spectrum sunscreens often provide less robust protection against UVA rays compared to UVB. People also tend to apply too little, too infrequently, and often miss spots. Relying solely on sunscreen can give a false sense of security, leading to longer exposure times. The best defense is a multi-pronged approach, seeking shade, wearing protective clothing, and avoiding peak sun hours, in addition to using sunscreen. So wear your sunscreen, but combine it with other protective measures. This life-saving debunking teaches us that single solutions are rarely foolproof. What other protections have you mistakenly believed were absolute?
How many times have you heard a parent or teacher scold, "Don't read in the dark, you'll ruin your eyes"? This cautionary warning has instilled fear in generations of late-night readers, linking poor lighting to permanent vision damage. It seems like a logical consequence. Straining your eyes in dim light must surely cause lasting harm, right? But prepare for an illuminating truth that will dispel this pervasive misconception, because the idea that reading in dim light permanently ruins your eyesight is an optical, persistent lie. The astonishing truth is that reading in dim light will not cause permanent damage to your eyes. What it will cause is temporary eye strain. Your eyes have to work harder to focus, which can lead to symptoms like fatigue, headaches, dry eyes, and temporary blurred vision. But once you stop reading and rest your eyes, these symptoms resolve and your vision returns to normal. There's no evidence that it leads to long-term issues like myopia, nearsightedness, or other degenerative eye conditions. So while it's more comfortable and less fatiguing to read in good light, don't worry about permanent damage if you occasionally find yourself squinting at a book in the dark. This vision-related debunking provides welcome relief for bookworms. What other everyday habits have you been told were secretly damaging your body?
For teenagers everywhere, it's been a dreaded warning. A direct link between indulgence and breakouts. Stay away from chocolate. It causes acne. This belief has led countless individuals to sacrifice their favorite sweet treat, convinced that every bite of a candy bar directly translates into a new zit. It seems like a simple, undeniable equation, but prepare for a sweet relief that will clear up this pervasive skin myth, because the idea that eating chocolate directly causes acne is a delicious yet misleading lie. The astonishing truth is that scientific research has largely failed to establish a direct, consistent causal link between chocolate consumption and acne in the general population. While some studies have suggested a potential connection in some individuals, particularly with high glycemic foods, which can include sugary chocolate, affecting blood sugar and hormone levels, it's far from a universal cause. Acne is primarily caused by a complex interplay of genetics, hormones, bacteria, and inflammation. Many other factors like stress, diet, high sugar or dairy in general, and certain medications play a much more significant role. So enjoy your chocolate in moderation without fear of an immediate breakout. This skin-deep debunking provides a guilt-free indulgence. What other dietary restrictions have been imposed on you based on questionable links? It's one of the most common caricatures used to dismiss or misunderstand the theory of evolution, the idea that humans evolved from monkeys. This image, often depicted as a linear progression from ape to human, suggests a direct ancestral line where modern monkeys slowly transformed into modern humans. This simplification has unfortunately led to widespread confusion and often rejection of evolutionary science. But prepare for an evolutionary leap in understanding that will clarify this fundamental concept, because the idea that humans evolved from monkeys is a profound biological lie. The astonishing truth is that humans did not evolve from modern monkeys. Instead, humans and modern monkeys and apes share a common ancestor that lived millions of years ago. Imagine a family tree. You and your cousin share a grandparent, but you didn't evolve from your cousin. Similarly, humans and monkeys are like cousins, branching off from a shared evolutionary ancestor. We are all primates, but we took different evolutionary paths. So next time you hear this misconception, you can explain the shared ancestry, not direct descent. This crucial biological correction helps us understand our place in the tree of life more accurately. What other scientific concepts have been simplified to the point of being misleading?
For generations, it was a fundamental truth of our solar system, a charming, distant member of our planetary family. Pluto is a planet. We learned mnemonic devices to remember all 9 planets, and Pluto held its place as the tiny, icy world at the edge of our celestial neighborhood. This was an undeniable astronomical fact taught in schools worldwide. But prepare for a cosmic demotion that changed everything, because the idea that Pluto is still classified as a planet is an outdated astronomical lie. The astonishing truth is that in 2006, the International Astronomical Union, IAU, formally reclassified Pluto as a dwarf planet. This wasn't a punishment for Pluto, but a refinement of the definition of a planet. To be a planet, an object must 1. Orbit the Sun, 2. Be massive enough to be nearly round, and 3. Have cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. Pluto fails on the third criterion, as it shares its orbital space with many other objects in the Kuiper belt. It's still a significant, fascinating celestial body, but it no longer fits the updated definition of a full-fledged planet. So, while it holds a special place in our hearts, Pluto's planetary status has been officially revised. This celestial debunking shows how scientific understanding evolves. What other facts are constantly being updated by new discoveries and definitions? For generations, it was a fundamental truth of our solar system, a charming, distant member of our planetary family. Pluto is a planet. We learned mnemonic devices to remember all 9 planets, and Pluto held its place as the tiny, icy world at the edge of our celestial neighborhood. This was an undeniable astronomical fact taught in schools worldwide. But prepare for a cosmic demotion that changed everything, because the idea that Pluto is still classified as a planet is an outdated astronomical lie. The astonishing truth is that in 2006, the International Astronomical Union, IAU, formally reclassified Pluto as a dwarf planet. This wasn't a punishment for Pluto, but a refinement of the definition of a planet. To be a planet, an object must 1. Orbit the Sun, 2. Be massive enough to be nearly round, and 3. Have cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. Pluto fails on the third criterion, as it shares its orbital space with many other objects in the Kuiper belt. It's still a significant, fascinating celestial body, but it no longer fits the updated definition of a full-fledged planet. So, while it holds a special place in our hearts, Pluto's planetary status has been officially revised. This celestial debunking shows how scientific understanding evolves. What other facts are constantly being updated by new discoveries and definitions? For generations, it was a fundamental truth of our solar system, a charming, distant member of our planetary family. Pluto is a planet. We learned mnemonic devices to remember all 9 planets, and Pluto held its place as the tiny, icy world at the edge of our celestial neighborhood. This was an undeniable astronomical fact taught in schools worldwide. But prepare for a cosmic demotion that changed everything, because the idea that Pluto is still classified as a planet is an outdated astronomical lie. The astonishing truth is that in 2006, the International Astronomical Union, IAU, formally reclassified Pluto as a dwarf planet. This wasn't a punishment for Pluto, but a refinement of the definition of a planet. To be a planet, an object must 1. Orbit the Sun, 2. Be massive enough to be nearly round, and 3. Have cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. Pluto fails on the third criterion, as it shares its orbital space with many other objects in the Kuiper belt. It's still a significant, fascinating celestial body, but it no longer fits the updated definition of a full-fledged planet. So, while it holds a special place in our hearts, Pluto's planetary status has been officially revised. This celestial debunking shows how scientific understanding evolves. What other facts are constantly being updated by new discoveries and definitions?
It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair, get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair, get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair, get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth.
This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic?
It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle,
beneath the scalp and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic?
It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair, get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair, get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair, get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic?
It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic? It's a common belief, especially among those trying to grow out their hair. Get a trim. It'll make your hair grow faster and healthier. The idea is that cutting the ends somehow stimulates the roots, encouraging a quicker, more robust growth cycle. This belief leads many to regularly snip their locks in the hopes of accelerating length. But prepare for a clean cut of truth that will trim away this widespread misconception, because the idea that hair grows faster after a haircut is a follicular, pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that hair growth occurs at the follicle, beneath the scalp, and is completely unaffected by what happens to the ends of the hair shaft. Cutting the dead ends does not send a signal to the roots to speed up production. Your hair grows at a genetically determined rate, typically about ½ an inch per month, regardless of how often you trim it. What a haircut does do is remove split ends and damage, making the hair appear healthier, fuller, and preventing breakage, which can make it seem like it's growing faster because it's retaining more length. So, get your trims for health and appearance, but not for accelerated growth. This beauty debunking frees you from a common hair care delusion. What other cosmetic enhancements are based on faulty logic?
You feel sluggish, bloated, and want a reset, so you turn to a trendy juice cleanse, convinced that a few days of consuming only fruit and vegetable juices will flush out toxins, purify your system, and kickstart weight loss. This alluring promise of a quick, liquid detox offers a seemingly effortless path to renewed health, but prepare for a sobering gulp of reality that will cleanse away this widespread misconception, because the idea that detoxing with juice cleanses actually works is a costly, ineffective lie. The astonishing truth is that your body has highly efficient built-in detoxification systems, your liver and kidneys. These organs are constantly working 24/7 to filter out waste products and metabolize toxins from your body. There's no scientific evidence that juice cleanses or other detox diets enhance this natural process. In fact, extreme caloric restriction from juice cleanses can leave you deficient in essential nutrients, especially protein and fiber, lead to muscle loss, blood sugar crashes, and often result in rapid rebound weight gain once you return to normal eating. While you might lose water weight initially, it's not sustainable fat loss or genuine detoxification. So support your natural detox organs with a balanced diet, not restrictive cleanses. This health debunking challenges a popular wellness fad. What other quick fix health trends are actually empty promises?
When you buy organic produce, you often do so with the firm belief that it's completely pesticide-free, a pristine food choice untouched by any chemical treatments. This assumption drives many to pay premium prices, convinced they're safeguarding their health from harmful residues. It's a comforting thought, isn't it, that organic equals absolute purity? But prepare to peel back the layers of this greenwashed truth, because the idea that organic produce is completely pesticide-free is a pervasive yet often misleading lie. The astonishing truth is that organic farming does not mean pesticide-free. Organic farmers are permitted to use a range of natural, naturally derived, and approved synthetic pesticides, though fewer than conventional farming, as long as they adhere to organic standards. The difference lies in the type of pesticides used and the philosophy of farming, which emphasizes ecological balance. While levels of synthetic pesticide residues are generally lower in organic produce, it's not zero, and some natural pesticides can also be toxic. Furthermore, cross-contamination from conventional farms can occur. The overall benefits often relate to reducing environmental impact rather than absolute individual health difference. So, while organic can be a valid choice, understand that pesticide-free is an overstatement. This ethical and health debunking demands critical thinking about food labels. What other natural claims are obscuring a more complex reality?
It's a fear that plagues many runners. Running on concrete is terrible for your knees. You'll ruin your joints. This widely circulated warning leads many to seek out softer surfaces like grass or trails, convinced that the hard impact of pavement will inevitably lead to injuries and long-term damage. It sounds logical, doesn't it, that a harder surface would cause more wear and tear? But prepare for a softer landing of truth that will alleviate this running anxiety, because the idea that running on concrete is always bad for your knees is an overstated, fear-mongering lie. The astonishing truth is that while concrete is indeed a harder surface than asphalt or dirt, the impact on your knees is not solely determined by the ground beneath you. Your body is incredibly adaptive. Factors like your running form, shoe choice, mileage, and muscle strength play a far more significant role in injury prevention. Many elite runners train extensively on concrete with no issues. Your body absorbs impact regardless of the surface, and it learns to adapt. Sudden increases in mileage, poor form, or weak supporting muscles are much more likely causes of knee pain than the surface itself. So run on concrete if you prefer, but focus on proper form and gradual progression. This fitness debunking brings practical relief. What other exercise rules are unnecessarily limiting your options?
For generations, it's been the essential warm-up ritual preached in gyms and sports classes. Stretch before you exercise. It prevents injuries. This ubiquitous advice leads countless individuals to perform static stretches, holding muscles in an extended position before hitting the track or lifting weights, believing it's a non-negotiable step for injury prevention. But prepare for a surprising truth that will stretch your understanding of warm-ups, because the idea that static stretching before exercise prevents injuries is a widespread yet often misleading lie. The astonishing truth is that numerous studies have shown that static stretching before exercise does not consistently prevent injuries, and in some cases it can even temporarily reduce muscle power and performance. The best warm-up involves dynamic movements that mimic the activity you're about to do, leg swings before running, which increases blood flow, core temperature, and prepares your muscles for action. Static stretching is generally more beneficial after a workout, when muscles are warm, to improve flexibility. So, ditch the static pre-workout stretches for dynamic movements to prepare your body more effectively. This fitness debunking challenges a long-held athletic ritual. What other common-sense warm-up practices are actually suboptimal?
You finish a workout, drenched in sweat, feeling like you've pushed your body to its absolute limit, and you think, "That was a great workout. Look how much I sweated." This visible sign of exertion often leads to the belief that the amount of sweat you produce directly correlates with the effectiveness or intensity of your exercise session. It offers a tangible measure of effort. But prepare for a refreshing truth that will dry out this widespread misconception, because the idea that more sweat means a better workout is a damp physiological lie. The astonishing truth is that sweat is primarily your body's cooling mechanism, not a direct indicator of caloric burn or fitness level.
How much you sweat is influenced by a multitude of factors, including ambient temperature and humidity, your individual genetics, your hydration status, your current fitness level. Fitter people often start sweating sooner to cool down more efficiently, and even the clothes you're wearing. A very fit person might sweat profusely during a moderate workout in a hot room, while a less fit person might sweat less during a high-intensity session in a cool environment. So focus on heart rate, effort, and muscle fatigue as indicators of a good workout, not just the puddle you leave behind. This fitness debunking helps you assess your effort more accurately. What other visible metrics are deceiving you about your progress?
It's an obsession in fitness circles. The anabolic window, that crucial 30 to 60-minute period immediately after a workout during which you must consume protein to maximize muscle growth and recovery, or risk losing all your gains. This strict timeline creates a sense of urgency, driving many to rush for their protein shakes as soon as their last rep is done. But prepare for a liberating truth that will open up your post-workout options, because the idea that you need protein immediately after a workout is an exaggerated anabolic window lie. The astonishing truth is that while protein intake is essential for muscle repair and growth, the anabolic window is much wider than previously thought, extending for several hours after your workout, not just minutes. What truly matters is your total daily protein intake and ensuring you're consuming enough quality protein throughout the day, especially around your workouts, both before and after. If you had a protein-rich meal a few hours before your workout, your body still has amino acids available. The exact timing is less critical than consistency and sufficiency. So, refuel when it's convenient and fits your schedule, knowing you have a broader window of opportunity. This fitness debunking provides flexibility and reduces stress. What other rigid fitness rules are actually unnecessary?
It's a common explanation for a stalled scale, a comforting justification for those working out but not seeing the numbers drop. Muscle weighs more than fat. This widely accepted fact suggests that a pound of muscle is somehow heavier than a pound of fat, implying that building muscle can actually increase your weight more significantly than gaining fat. But prepare for a foundational truth that will redefine your understanding of body composition, because the idea that muscle weighs more than fat is a trick of language, a scientific lie. The astonishing truth is that a pound is a pound, whether it's a pound of feathers, a pound of lead, a pound of muscle, or a pound of fat. They all weigh the same. What people mean to say, and what is scientifically accurate, is that muscle is denser than fat. This means that a given volume of muscle, for example, a cubic inch, will weigh more than the same volume of fat. So a pound of muscle takes up less space than a pound of fat. This is why two people of the same height and weight can look dramatically different in body shape. One might have more lean muscle mass, appearing leaner and more compact. So, understand density, not weight, is the key difference. This fitness debunking clarifies a fundamental biological concept. What other everyday comparisons are based on imprecise language? You've probably heard the tip for boosting metabolism. Drink ice water. Your body has to work harder to warm it up, burning extra calories. This appealing shortcut suggests a simple way to increase your daily energy expenditure, turning your hydration into a mini workout for your metabolism. It sounds like an effortless hack for weight loss, but prepare for a chilly dose of reality that will cool down this widespread misconception, because the idea that drinking cold water significantly helps burn more calories is an icy, exaggerated lie. The astonishing truth is that while your body does expend a tiny amount of energy to warm cold water to body temperature, the caloric burn is absolutely negligible. To warm 8 ounces of ice water from near freezing to body temperature, your body might burn around 8 to 10 calories. To make a meaningful impact on weight loss, you'd have to drink dozens of liters of ice water a day, which is impractical and potentially dangerous. The real benefits of drinking water are staying hydrated, which is crucial for metabolism and overall health, and feeling fuller.
but it's not a secret calorie burner. So, drink water for hydration and health, not for a significant metabolic boost. This fitness debunking puts an end to unrealistic expectations. What other easy health hacks are failing to deliver meaningful results?
It's a persistent warning, especially for women in the gym. Don't lift heavy weights, you'll get bulky. This pervasive belief suggests that women who engage in strength training with significant loads will inevitably develop a masculine physique, losing their feminine shape. This discourages many women from embracing the incredibly beneficial practice of heavy lifting. But prepare for a powerful truth that will break through these ironclad misconceptions, because the idea that women shouldn't lift heavy weights is an empowering yet deeply rooted lie. The astonishing truth is that it is incredibly difficult for most women to get bulky from lifting heavy weights due to fundamental biological differences. Women have significantly lower levels of testosterone, the primary hormone responsible for large-scale muscle hypertrophy, growth. Lifting heavy weights will, however, lead to increased strength, improved bone density, better body composition, more muscle, less fat, enhanced metabolism, and a more toned athletic physique, all without losing femininity. Most women who appear bulky in competitive lifting train with extreme dedication and specific dietary regimens. So, women, lift heavy without fear. You'll gain strength and health, not unwanted bulk. This fitness debunking liberates women from outdated stereotypes. What other societal rules are unnecessarily limiting personal potential?
How many times did your parents or grandparents scold you? Don't sit so close to the TV. You'll ruin your eyes. This ubiquitous warning has instilled fear in generations of eager young viewers, linking proximity to the screen with permanent vision damage. It feels like a logical consequence, doesn't it, that staring intently at a bright screen from close range would cause lasting harm. But prepare for a visual clarity that will debunk this long-held parental dictate, because the idea that sitting too close to the TV permanently ruins your eyes is an optical, persistent lie. The astonishing truth is that sitting close to the TV does not cause permanent damage to your eyes. While it can cause temporary eye strain, fatigue, headaches, or dry eyes, these symptoms are not indicative of lasting harm and resolve once you step away from the screen and rest your eyes. Children, in particular, often sit close to the TV because their eyes can focus at close distances better than adults, and they might have an undiagnosed vision problem, like nearsightedness, that makes them want to sit closer. So don't worry about permanent damage, but do encourage breaks to prevent eye strain. This vision-related debunking brings relief to screen users. What other childhood warnings are actually based on temporary discomfort rather than lasting harm? Remember the childhood terror? Accidentally swallowing a watermelon seed only to be immediately warned, "Oh no, now a watermelon plant will grow in your stomach." This whimsical yet terrifying notion has instilled fear and anxiety in countless children, making them believe that a miniature fruit plant would sprout and take root inside their bodies. It was a potent cautionary tale against careless eating. But prepare for a digestive dose of reality that will clear up this fruity fable, because the idea that swallowed watermelon seeds will grow a plant in your stomach is a charming yet biologically impossible lie. The astonishing truth is that for a plant to grow, it needs specific conditions: soil, sunlight, and water. Your stomach, with its highly acidic environment, digestive enzymes, and lack of light, is absolutely not a suitable place for a seed to germinate and grow. The seeds are simply too tough to break down completely in your digestive system and will pass harmlessly through your body, eventually being excreted just like any other indigestible fiber. So, accidental seed swallowing poses no threat of internal horticulture. This light-hearted debunking reveals how easily imagination can create biological impossibilities. What other bodily horrors have you feared based on playful exaggerations?
It's a quirky piece of folk wisdom, often shared by well-meaning relatives. Eat your bread crusts, it'll make your hair curly. This endearing yet bizarre belief attempts to link a common food item to a specific physical trait, implying that consuming the crunchy edges of bread could magically alter your hair's texture. It was an interesting way to encourage kids to eat all their bread. But prepare for a scientific snip that will cut through this hair-raising misconception, because the idea that eating bread crusts makes your hair curly is a charming yet biologically impossible lie. The astonishing truth is that there is absolutely no scientific basis whatsoever for this claim. Hair texture, whether straight, wavy, curly, or coily, is entirely determined by your genetics, specifically the shape of your hair follicles. Your diet, while important for overall hair health, strength, shine, has no influence on the fundamental structure that dictates curl. Eating bread crusts might provide some fiber and nutrients, but it won't magically activate a curl gene or reshape your follicles. So enjoy your crusts if you like them, but don't expect a perm from your plate. This beauty debunking highlights the limits of diet on genetics. What other strange food benefits have you been told were true?
Every child has heard it. Stop crossing your eyes. If you do that too much, they'll get stuck that way. This stern warning, often delivered with a dramatic flourish, aims to prevent playful eye contortions by instilling fear of permanent disfigurement. The visual image of permanently crossed eyes is certainly enough to deter many. But prepare for a clarifying truth that will straighten out this visual misconception, because the idea that your eyes can get stuck if you cross them is a pervasive yet anatomically impossible lie. The astonishing truth is that your eye muscles are designed for incredible flexibility and control, allowing them to move in many directions, including crossing inward. They are controlled by a complex system of nerves and muscles that allow for temporary crossing without any risk of getting stuck. It's a voluntary action that your brain commands and easily reverses. There's no mechanism for the muscles to lock into that position. While prolonged eye strain can occur, it's not permanent. So while it's generally not a good habit to constantly cross your eyes due to strain, you can rest assured they won't freeze in place. This physiological debunking offers relief from a common childhood fear. What other bodily warnings from your youth were based on harmless temporary effects?
It's a widely held belief, a cardinal rule of wildlife interaction. Never touch a baby bird that's fallen from its nest. Its mother will smell your human scent and reject it. This well-intentioned warning aims to protect young birds, but it often leads to tragic outcomes as people leave vulnerable fledglings to fend for themselves. But prepare for a compassionate truth that will free you to help, because the idea that a mother bird will reject its baby due to human scent is a heartwarming yet biologically false lie. The astonishing truth is that most bird species have a very poor sense of smell, far too weak to detect human scent on their offspring. Their parental instincts are driven by sight and sound, not smell. If you find a baby bird that has fallen from its nest, the best thing to do is carefully pick it up and return it to its nest, if possible. If the nest is destroyed or out of reach, you can even create a makeshift nest and place it nearby. The parents will almost certainly continue to care for it. So don't hesitate to help a fallen fledgling. You're not putting it in danger of rejection. This compassionate debunking encourages responsible wildlife intervention. What other animal facts have prevented you from acting humanely?
You spent days perfecting that golden glow, only to hear the dreaded warning, "Don't shave, it'll make your tan fade faster." This common belief suggests that the act of shaving somehow scrapes away the top layer of tan skin cells, causing your hard-earned, sun-kissed look to disappear more quickly. It's a frustrating dilemma for anyone trying to maintain both smooth skin and a beautiful tan. But prepare for a refreshing shave of truth that will smooth away this widespread misconception, because the idea that shaving makes your tan fade faster is a skin-deep cosmetic lie. The astonishing truth is that shaving does not remove enough of the stratum corneum, the outermost layer of dead skin cells, to significantly impact your tan. A tan is formed by melanin produced in the deeper layers of the epidermis. While shaving does provide a mild exfoliation, it removes only the very surface dead cells and hair, which doesn't drastically accelerate the natural fading process of your tan. In fact, gentle exfoliation can sometimes even make a tan appear more even and vibrant. So, go ahead and shave for smooth skin. Your tan will fade at its natural rate regardless. This beauty debunking frees you from an unnecessary cosmetic worry. What other beauty rules are based on faulty understanding of skin biology?
You've probably heard it or even believed it about yourself. Most people only dream in black and white. This common assertion suggests that our nocturnal visions are devoid of color, painting our subconscious narratives in shades of gray. It makes sense, perhaps, given the age of black and white television and photography, but prepare for a vibrant burst of truth that will color your understanding of dreams, because the idea that you only dream in black and white is a colorless yet pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that the vast majority of people dream in color. Scientific studies using various methods, including asking dreamers to select colors from charts or compare their dreams to color versus black and white images, consistently find that upwards of 75 to 80% of people report dreaming in full color. The misconception likely originated from early research and surveys conducted during the era of black and white media, when cultural exposure to monochrome visuals might have influenced dream recall. Today, with ubiquitous color media, very few people report exclusively black and white dreams, and those who do often grew up with black and white media. So next time you drift off, expect a full spectrum of colors in your subconscious canvas. This psychological debunking reveals how culture can subtly influence our perceptions of internal experiences. What other inner workings of your mind have you misunderstood based on external influences?
It's a warning as old as bedtime itself. Don't go to sleep with wet hair. You'll catch a cold or get sick. This ubiquitous caution links dampness on your head to inevitable illness, suggesting that the moisture somehow invites germs or weakens your immune system. It's a common maternal decree aimed at preventing nighttime sniffles. But prepare for a refreshing dose of reality that will dry out this widespread misconception, because the idea that sleeping with wet hair makes you sick is a damp physiological lie. The astonishing truth is that getting sick, specifically catching a cold or flu, is caused by viruses, not by having wet hair or being cold. Viruses like rhinoviruses or influenza viruses are transmitted through droplets from coughs, sneezes, or contact with contaminated surfaces. While being cold or having wet hair can make you feel uncomfortable and might temporarily impact your body's immune response if you're severely hypothermic, it does not directly cause a viral infection. You can sleep with soaking wet hair in a warm room and not get sick if you're not exposed to a virus. So while it might not be the most comfortable or hair-friendly practice, don't fear illness from damp locks. This health debunking clarifies the true cause of common illnesses. What other unhealthy habits are actually harmless? It's a common observation. After a run or on a hot day, your dog is panting heavily, tongue out, seemingly sweating buckets. This leads to the widespread belief that dogs cool themselves exclusively by panting, acting as their primary and only method of sweating. It seems logical given how much they pant when hot, but prepare for a surprising physiological truth that will make you rethink canine cooling, because the idea that dogs sweat only by panting is a partially true yet fundamentally incomplete lie. The astonishing truth is that while panting is indeed a dog's most effective and primary way to regulate body temperature, evaporating moisture from their tongue and respiratory tract, it's not their only way to sweat. Dogs also have sweat glands, called eccrine glands located in their paw pads. While these glands contribute very little to overall body cooling compared to panting, they do produce sweat. Their paw pads get damp not just from external moisture, but also from slight perspiration. So while panting is king for cooling, it's not the sole method. This animal debunking reveals a hidden aspect of canine physiology. What other animal behaviors have you only partially understood?
It's often presented as a defining characteristic of human evolution, a key anatomical feature that sets us apart and allowed for tool use and complex manipulation. Only humans have opposable thumbs. This widely held belief highlights our perceived uniqueness in the animal kingdom, attributing our advanced dexterity solely to our species. But prepare for a gripping truth that will broaden your understanding of primate anatomy, because the idea that opposable thumbs are unique to humans is a widespread yet anatomically incorrect lie. The astonishing truth is that humans are not the only animals with opposable thumbs. Many other primates, including monkeys like capuchins and apes like chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans, also possess opposable thumbs. Their thumbs might not be as long or as mobile as human thumbs, and their dexterity might differ, but the anatomical feature of an opposable thumb is clearly present. What makes the human thumb remarkable is its degree of opposability and its highly developed musculature, which allows for incredibly precise grips and fine motor skills. So while our thumbs are exceptional, they're not exclusive. This biological debunking reminds us of our shared evolutionary heritage. What other unique human traits are actually shared with our animal relatives, albeit to different degrees?
It's a frightening claim that has circulated for years, sparking anxiety and prompting many to switch to natural deodorants. Antiperspirants and deodorants cause breast cancer. The concern often centers on aluminum compounds blocking sweat glands or other chemicals being absorbed into the lymph nodes under the arm, leading to tumor development. But prepare for a clear-cut truth that will put your mind at ease, because the idea that deodorants cause breast cancer is an unsubstantiated, dangerous lie. The astonishing truth is that extensive research by major health organizations, including the American Cancer Society and the National Cancer Institute, has found no definitive scientific link between antiperspirant or deodorant use and breast cancer risk. Studies have not consistently shown that aluminum or parabens, another controversial ingredient, from deodorants are absorbed in significant amounts, or that they cause cancer. While it's always wise to be mindful of what you put on your body, there is no compelling evidence to support this widespread fear. So use your preferred deodorant without this specific health worry. Focus on proven risk factors for cancer instead. This health debunking alleviates unnecessary anxiety. What other health scares have been fueled by unsubstantiated claims and fear-mongering?
You've heard the rules. Don't eat after 7 p.m. or always eat breakfast within an hour of waking. These strict mealtime mandates suggest that your digestive system operates on a precise clock, performing optimally only during certain windows and struggling at others. This belief often dictates when and what we eat. But prepare for a flexible truth that will liberate your eating schedule, because the idea that there's a universally best time for digestion is a rigid yet fundamentally misleading lie. The astonishing truth is that while your digestive system operates on a circadian rhythm and is influenced by sleep-wake cycles, it is remarkably adaptive and can digest food effectively at almost any time of day or night. What truly impacts digestion and overall health is what you eat, how much you eat, and your overall dietary pattern, not the specific hour. Large, heavy meals right before bed can cause discomfort simply because they're large and heavy, not because it's late. Eating patterns that align with your lifestyle and leave you feeling good are most important. So listen to your body's hunger cues and eat when it feels right for you, rather than adhering to arbitrary time limits. This dietary debunking promotes intuitive eating. What other rigid health schedules are actually flexible? Feeling overwhelmed, stressed, burned out?
You're probably told you need a digital detox. Just unplug completely. This popular advice suggests that completely disconnecting from all screens and technology for an extended period is a universal cure-all for modern anxieties, promising a pristine reset for your mental well-being. It's an alluring, simple solution to complex problems. But prepare for a nuanced truth that will reconnect you with reality, because the idea that everyone needs a complete digital detox as a panacea is an oversimplified, often impractical lie. The astonishing truth is that while mindful technology use is crucial and occasional breaks can be beneficial, a complete detox isn't necessary or even feasible for most people in our hyper-connected world. For many, technology is essential for work, education, social connection, and access to vital information. The problem often isn't technology itself, but how we use it. Mindless scrolling, comparison culture, or letting it interfere with sleep. Learning to set boundaries, practice intentional use, and cultivate offline hobbies are often more effective and sustainable than a temporary extreme unplugging. So, practice mindful tech habits rather than feeling pressured to completely disconnect. This wellness debunking promotes sustainable habits over extreme measures. What other quick-fix solutions are failing to address the root causes of modern stress?
From grandmothers to parenting books, you've probably heard the warning, don't pick up a crying baby immediately, you'll spoil them and they'll learn to manipulate you. This widely held belief suggests that responding too quickly to a baby's cries creates dependency and teaches them bad habits, promoting a tough love approach to infant soothing. But prepare for a heartwarming truth that will empower you to comfort your little ones, because the idea that immediately picking up a crying baby will spoil them is a profound yet deeply harmful lie. The astonishing truth is that babies cry because they need something: comfort, food, a diaper change, or just reassurance. Responding promptly to an infant's cries does not spoil them. In fact, it builds trust and a secure attachment, teaching them that their needs will be met. Studies consistently show that securely attached children are often more independent and resilient later in life. Infants are not capable of manipulation. They are communicating their needs. Ignoring cries can actually increase stress hormones in babies and lead to feelings of insecurity. So, pick up that crying baby. You're fostering security and love, not spoiling them. This parenting debunking encourages responsive caregiving. What other traditional parenting advice is actually detrimental to child development?
You've heard it countless times. I'm a left-brained person, logical and analytical, or she's so right-brained, creative and artistic. This popular theory divides people into two distinct categories based on whether their left or right brain hemisphere is dominant, attributing specific personality traits, skills, and thinking styles to each side. It's a neat, appealing way to categorize human intelligence, but prepare for a neuroscientific revelation that will shatter this simplistic division, because the idea of being purely left-brained or right-brained is a pervasive yet fundamentally misleading lie. The astonishing truth is that modern neuroscience has debunked this theory. While certain brain functions, like language processing in most right-handers, tend to be lateralized to one hemisphere, both sides of your brain are constantly working together, in concert, for virtually every cognitive task. There's no evidence that individuals consistently use one hemisphere significantly more than the other, or that a specific personality type is wired to one side. Creativity and logic are complex processes that engage networks across both hemispheres. So celebrate the integrated marvel that is your entire brain, rather than trying to label yourself as left or right. This neurological debunking encourages a holistic view of human intelligence. What other simplistic models of the mind are failing to capture its true complexity? You've probably heard the intriguing statistic: most people only use about 10% of the words in the English language. This captivating idea suggests a vast, untapped vocabulary waiting to be discovered, implying that our daily communication is incredibly limited compared to the richness of our language. It often comes with the implicit challenge to expand your lexicon. But prepare for a linguistic revelation that will redefine your understanding of language use, because the idea that we only use 10% of our language is a quantitative yet fundamentally misleading lie. The astonishing truth is that this claim is a gross misinterpretation of how vocabulary size and language use work. While any single individual might not actively use every single word listed in a comprehensive dictionary, which contains millions, including archaic or highly specialized terms, this doesn't mean they're only using 10% of their actual working vocabulary. An average adult native English speaker has an active vocabulary of around 20,000 to 35,000 words and a passive recognition vocabulary of 40,000 to 80,000 words. This covers a significant portion of common usage. The idea of a 10% limit is simply unfounded. So celebrate the rich vocabulary you already possess and continue to expand it naturally rather than feeling artificially limited. This linguistic debunking clarifies how we engage with our mother tongue. What other numerical facts about human capabilities are actually statistical misinterpretations?
It's been touted as a miracle of nature, a supposed immune superpower. Sharks don't get cancer. This captivating claim, often used to promote dubious shark cartilage supplements as a cancer cure, suggests that these ancient predators possess a unique biological immunity to the disease that plagues humanity. It offers a glimmer of hope that a natural solution exists. But prepare for a scientific bite of reality that will tear apart this widespread misconception, because the idea that sharks don't get cancer is a dangerous, biologically false lie. The astonishing truth is that sharks absolutely do get cancer. While they might have a lower incidence of certain types of tumors compared to mammals, scientists have documented numerous cases of various cancers in sharks, rays, and chimeras. Necropsies and scientific studies have consistently found malignant tumors in various shark species, affecting their skin, cartilage, and internal organs. The myth was likely perpetuated by anecdotal observations and a misunderstanding of their biology. Promoting shark cartilage as a cancer cure is not only ineffective, but also contributes to the unsustainable slaughter of these vital ocean creatures. So respect sharks for their ecological role, but don't attribute mythical cancer immunity to them. This biological debunking combats misinformation with real scientific evidence. What other animals' superpowers are actually just human fantasies? For centuries, it's been the ultimate romantic gift, the go-to treat for lovers. Chocolate is an aphrodisiac. This delicious belief suggests that consuming chocolate possesses magical powers to ignite passion, enhance desire, and stimulate romance. The velvety texture and sweet taste certainly contribute to its alluring reputation. But prepare for a scientific reality check that will temper this widespread culinary myth, because the idea that chocolate is a true aphrodisiac is a charming yet chemically unproven lie. The astonishing truth is that while chocolate contains compounds like phenylethylamine, a stimulant, and tryptophan, a precursor to serotonin, the amounts present are far too small to have any significant physiological impact on libido or arousal. The aphrodisiac effect of chocolate is almost entirely psychological and cultural. It's associated with pleasure, indulgence, luxury, and gifting, which creates a positive mood and connection, indirectly enhancing romantic feelings. The experience of eating chocolate, rather than its chemical composition, is what makes it feel special and romantic. So, enjoy chocolate for its delightful taste and symbolic value, but don't expect it to be a potent love potion. This cultural debunking reveals the power of association over chemical effect. What other romantic facts are actually products of cultural conditioning? In our fast-paced world, you often hear the advice, learn to speed read.
The faster you read, the more information you can absorb, making you more efficient. This alluring promise suggests that high reading speeds directly correlate with superior comprehension and productivity. It's a skill many strive to master, believing it's the key to information overload. But prepare for a literary truth that will slow down this widespread misconception, because the idea that reading speedily always means better comprehension is a compelling yet often misleading lie. The astonishing truth is that while you can certainly increase your reading speed, doing so often comes at the expense of comprehension, especially for complex or nuanced material. Our brains need time to process, integrate, and reflect on information. Speed reading techniques often involve skimming, which can miss crucial details, context, and deeper meaning. While efficient reading is valuable for certain types of content, for example, scanning emails, for learning, critical analysis, or enjoying literature, a slower, more deliberate pace is often necessary for true understanding and retention. So, prioritize comprehension over speed. Your brain benefits more from thoughtful engagement than rapid skimming. This cognitive debunking encourages mindful information consumption. What other efficiency hacks are actually sacrificing quality for speed?
It's a chilling thought, enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. You swallow an average of 8 spiders a year in your sleep. This terrifying urban legend has been widely shared, playing on our primal fear of creepy crawlies and our vulnerability during slumber. The idea of unwittingly consuming arachnids while unconscious is undeniably unsettling, but prepare for a comforting truth that will allow you to sleep more soundly, because the idea that you regularly swallow spiders in your sleep is an utterly unfounded 8-legged lie. The astonishing truth is that this claim is a complete myth. Spiders are not interested in crawling into the mouths of sleeping humans. Our breathing, snoring, and the vibrations we make would likely deter them. Furthermore, spiders are sensitive to vibrations and generally avoid large, potentially dangerous creatures like sleeping humans. They're more interested in catching insects in their webs or finding dark, quiet places. Even if one did accidentally crawl near your mouth, your body's natural reflexes, coughing, swallowing, would almost certainly prevent ingestion. So rest easy, your mouth is not a spider trap. This entomological debunking puts an end to a common nocturnal fear. What other widespread facts about the natural world are actually just scary stories?
It's a rite of passage for many incoming college students, a dreaded inevitability. Beware the freshman 15. You're gonna gain 15 pounds your first year. This pervasive warning suggests that significant weight gain is a guaranteed outcome of starting college, leading to anxiety and body image concerns for countless young adults. It feels like an undeniable consequence of newfound freedom and unlimited dining halls. But prepare for a more balanced truth that will lighten the load of this college myth, because the idea that the freshman 15 is universally real and inevitable is an exaggerated yet widely believed lie. The astonishing truth is that while many students do gain some weight during their first year of college, the average amount is far less than 15 pounds, typically closer to 3 to 7 pounds. Some students even lose weight or maintain theirs. The freshman 15 is an overblown generalization. Weight gain often stems from lifestyle changes like increased stress, less structured eating, reduced physical activity, and increased alcohol consumption, rather than a magical inevitability. Focusing on balanced eating, regular exercise, and stress management can easily counteract this trend. So, manage your lifestyle, not just your fear of the 15. This health debunking alleviates unnecessary stress during a transitional life stage. What other inevitable life changes are actually more flexible than you think?
It's a common refrain every winter. Watch out, flu season is here. The cold weather causes the flu.
This ubiquitous belief links plummeting temperatures with the inevitable spread of influenza, suggesting that the cold itself is the direct trigger for this widespread respiratory illness. It seems logical, doesn't it, that the season of chill would bring the chills and fever? But prepare for a viral truth that will warm up your understanding of disease transmission, because the idea that cold weather causes the flu is a chilling yet fundamentally false lie. The astonishing truth is that the flu is caused by influenza viruses, not by cold temperatures. You get the flu by being exposed to the virus, typically through airborne droplets from an infected person's cough or sneeze, or by touching contaminated surfaces. While flu season often coincides with colder months, it's due to several indirect factors: people spending more time indoors in close proximity, dry indoor air making it easier for viral particles to spread, and possibly the virus surviving longer in cold, dry conditions. The cold itself is not the pathogen. So get your flu shot and practice good hygiene. Don't just blame the weather. This crucial health debunking clarifies the real causes of seasonal illnesses. What other environmental causes of disease are actually indirect correlations?
It's a common justification for keeping goldfish in tiny bowls. Don't worry, goldfish only grow to the size of their environment. This widely held belief suggests that the fish's growth will magically stunt itself to match the confines of its living space, implying that a small bowl is perfectly adequate. It sounds convenient, doesn't it? A natural limit to pet size. But prepare for a shocking splash of truth that will expand your understanding of aquatic life, because the idea that goldfish only grow to the size of their bowl is a cruel yet pervasive lie. The astonishing truth is that goldfish are not naturally stunted by their environment. If kept in too small a space, their bodies might become physically stunted externally, but their internal organs continue to grow. This leads to a painful, often fatal condition called stunting, which causes severe health problems, organ damage, and a drastically shortened lifespan. Goldfish, when given adequate space, like a large tank or pond, can grow to over a foot long and live for 10 to 20 years. Keeping them in small bowls is akin to keeping a human in a tiny closet for their entire life. So, provide your goldfish with ample space and filtration. They deserve to grow to their full, healthy potential. This animal welfare debunking reveals a widespread form of pet neglect. What other convenient truths about pet care are actually harmful misconceptions?
From childhood, we learn about the 5 senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch, and often assume they operate as a harmonious, equally important quintet, contributing evenly to our perception of the world. This balanced view suggests a uniform sensory experience for everyone. But prepare for a fascinating truth that will reveal the hierarchy of your perceptions, because the idea that we use all 5 senses equally is a balanced yet fundamentally misleading lie. The astonishing truth is that humans are overwhelmingly visual creatures, with sight being our dominant sense. A massive portion of our brain's cortex is dedicated to processing visual information. We rely heavily on our eyes to navigate, communicate, learn, and interpret our environment. While other senses are crucial, they often play supporting roles, especially when there's conflicting information. For example, if you hear one thing but see another, your brain almost always prioritizes what you see. Furthermore, individuals can have variations in sensory acuity. Some might have a heightened sense of smell, others exceptional hearing. So while all senses contribute, recognize that your vision often takes the lead in shaping your reality. This neurological debunking reveals the inherent biases in human perception. What other equal aspects of your experience are actually operating with a hierarchy?
You hear that satisfying pop when you crack your neck, but immediately a wave of fear washes over you, fueled by warnings. Don't do that. You'll give yourself a stroke or paralyze yourself. This pervasive belief suggests that self-manipulating your neck is inherently dangerous, risking catastrophic injury to your spinal cord or blood vessels. It's enough to make anyone hesitant. But prepare for a careful truth that will put your mind at ease, because the idea that cracking your neck is always dangerous is an exaggerated, fear-mongering lie. The astonishing truth is that the popping sound is usually just the release of gas bubbles in the synovial fluid of your spinal joints, similar to cracking your knuckles. For most healthy individuals, a casual, gentle self-neck crack is generally harmless and can relieve temporary stiffness. The risks of serious injury, like stroke from artery dissection, are extremely rare and are almost exclusively associated with forceful, aggressive manipulation, especially by an untrained individual or in people with pre-existing vascular conditions. If you experience pain or discomfort or have persistent neck issues, consulting a professional is always wise, but a simple pop isn't inherently risky. So, understand the mechanics and don't let fear paralyze you. This anatomical debunking alleviates unnecessary anxiety. What other bodily actions have you feared due to overblown warnings?
It's a deeply ingrained belief, often a source of human pride. Humans are the pinnacle of evolution. This idea places humanity at the apex of a linear progression, suggesting that we are the most advanced, most perfect, and ultimate outcome of billions of years of evolutionary development. It implies a hierarchy, with other species existing on lower rungs of the evolutionary ladder. But prepare for a humbling truth that will redefine your place in the tree of life, because the idea that humans are the pinnacle of evolution is an anthropocentric, ego-driven lie. The astonishing truth is that evolution is not a ladder with a pinnacle or an end goal. It's a branching bush or a vast, sprawling tree. Every species alive today, including humans, is equally evolved to its particular environment and ecological niche. There is no higher or lower form of life in an evolutionary sense. We are simply one highly adapted species among millions, remarkably successful in our own way, but not the ultimate destination of life. Bacteria, fungi, and insects are incredibly successful and highly evolved organisms, just in different directions. So embrace your place as a unique and complex branch on the tree of life, not its supposed crowning achievement. This profound debunking invites humility and a deeper appreciation for biodiversity. What other self-serving truths are masking a more interconnected reality?